My name's Leo, and I have exactly one talent. I'm really good at doing nothing. Not in a lazy way, just I know how to be still. It drove my mom crazy when I was a kid. She'd find me sitting in the backyard watching ants for an hour, just watching. Go do something, she'd say. But I was doing something. I was paying attention. That Tuesday, paying attention saved my life. It started normal. Northwood High, the usual grind. Hallways smelled like body spray and whatever mystery meat they were serving in the cafeteria. I was running on 4 hours of sleep and the dregs of a Red Bull, heading to AP Bio. Marcus caught up with me by the lockers, already complaining about the reading. "Did you do it?" he asked, falling into step beside me. "Do I ever?" "You're gonna fail, dude." "I'm gonna be fine." I wasn't gonna be fine, but that's a later problem. We slid into our seats. I was by the window, which meant I could stare outside and pretend I was anywhere else. Mr. Henderson was already at the board, drawing the Krebs cycle like it was the most interesting thing in the world. Normal, boring, safe. But then, I noticed Grace Holloway. She sat 2 rows ahead, always had her notes color-coded, always had her hand up. Today, she was slumped over her desk, hood pulled up, not moving. That was weird. Grace didn't do slumped. She did perky and annoyingly well prepared. I nudged Marcus. "Check out Grace." He glanced over. "She's hungover." Grace Holloway doesn't get hungover. She probably does her taxes for fun. Maybe she's sick. Let it go, man. I let it go for about 5 minutes. Then Mr. Henderson's phone buzzed. He looked at it, and I saw something cross his face, something fast, like a flicker of a different person behind his teacher mask. He put the phone down and said, "All right, everyone, I need to step out for a moment. Just work quietly." He left. Mr. Henderson never left. One time he taught through a fire drill because he thought we needed the instruction time. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Okay, that's a little weird." I pulled out my phone. No service. Not one bar. I held it up to Marcus. He checked his, frowned. Mine too. The hallway outside was too quiet. No slamming lockers, no teachers yelling at kids to get to class. Just a kind of hollow silence that pressed against my ears. I started to feel that itch, the one I get when something's off. Like when you're walking through the woods and everything goes quiet, that's when you know there's a predator nearby. Then someone screamed. It came from downstairs, cut off fast, like someone flipped a switch. The whole class went still. We all looked at each other. Derek, the jock type, stood up. "What the hell was that?" "Sit down," Maya said, but her voice shook. I was already moving to the door. I didn't open it, just put my ear against it. I heard footsteps, running, and another sound, a wet, tearing noise, like someone ripping a chicken breast apart. I stepped back. "We need to lock the door." "Lock it?" Marcus said. "Why?" "Because that sounded like someone getting eaten." He stared at me for a second, then helped me push a desk against the door. A few others joined in. We had it blocked just as something slammed against it from the other side. The whole door shook. Everyone backed up. Then the slamming stopped. Through the little window, I saw someone shuffle past. It was Kevin Park from Chess Club. His head was tilted wrong, like his neck was broken. His shirt was soaked dark red. His eyes were wrong, cloudy, like a fish that had been sitting out too long. He didn't look at us, just shuffled past, dragging one foot. Maya let out a tiny squeak. I put my hand over her mouth without thinking. "Shh," I whispered. "Don't make noise." We stood there for a long time. I don't know how long. Time got weird. We could hear more of them out there, the shuffling, the moans. Every so often something would hit a locker or a door. The power flickered once, twice, then went out. Marcus was sitting against the wall, knees pulled up. "Dude, are those zombies?" "I don't know what they are." "Kevin Park just walked past with his neck ripped open. That's pretty zombie." "I'm not saying it's not." I leaned against the teacher's desk, trying to think. "Look, whatever they are, we just need to wait it out. Someone's gonna come. Cops, National Guard, whatever. We just sit tight." It sounded good. It sounded reasonable. 3 hours later, the water stopped running.
By noon, the screaming had stopped. I don't know if that was better or worse. At least when people were screaming, you knew some people were still alive. We had 12 of us in that room now. Mr. Henderson never came back. Some kids from another class had joined us after their teacher got bit. One of them, a freshman named Liam, was crying so hard he was hyperventilating. I sat with him for a while, just breathing slow until he matched me. I don't know why I did that. I'm not good with people. But he was just a kid, you know? He looked like my little cousin. Around 1, Derek started pacing. "We can't just sit here." "We can," I said. "Sitting here is safe." "Safe?" He laughed, but it wasn't funny. "Dude, we're in a high school with a bunch of zombies. Sitting here is just waiting to die. Running out there is how you die faster." He didn't have an answer for that, but he kept pacing. I had my phone out, even though there was no signal. I'd been typing notes in a text draft just to keep my head straight. Things I was noticing. They don't run, fast walk at most. They follow sound. A book fell in the next room and they all went to it. They don't open doors. They'll push, but they don't turn handles. That last one was important. It meant a locked door was a wall to them. For now. The power went out at 3. Lights flickered, hummed, died. The room went gray and shadowy. Someone started crying again. I don't blame them. Something about the dark makes everything feel closer. By 5, we were running out of options. The water was gone. The snacks we had, some granola bars, a bag of chips, a half-eaten sandwich Marcus had in his bag, were almost gone. And the moaning outside was getting closer. They'd figured out there were people in here. Not smart enough to get in, but patient. They could wait forever. We couldn't. "We gotta move," I said. Marcus looked at me. "You just said sitting here was safe." I was wrong. I hated saying that. But the data had changed. We need somewhere better. Somewhere with supplies, with a door they can't get through. "The auto shop," Marcus said. I stared at him. "The auto shop?" "It's in the annex. Steel roll-down doors, tools, and it's got its own bathroom with a tank for water." "How do you know that?" He shrugged. "I took auto shop last year because I thought it'd be easy." I almost laughed. Almost. "Okay, auto shop. We go at dusk. In the dark, we might have some advantage." I laid out the plan. Simple. Move quiet, stay together, don't stop. The auto shop was a 5-minute walk. We could do it. When it went dark, zombies had scrambled a bit. We took our chance, got out of the classroom. We got halfway down the annex hallway when we heard them behind us, a whole group of them shuffling out of the main building. They hadn't seen us yet, but they would. And then Derek grabbed the roll-down door and yanked it up, and it screeched, this awful metal sound that bounced off every wall. The infected turned, all of them. "Go, go, go!" someone yelled, and we poured through the opening. I was last, halfway in, when something grabbed my backpack. I swung back with a wrench I'd grabbed from a table, I don't even remember picking it up, and connected with something solid. The grip let go. I fell through the gap, and Marcus slammed the door down. We lay there in the dark, breathing hard, listening to them hit the metal from the outside. Thud, thud, scratching. I looked at the wrench in my hand. There was blood on it, dark, thick. I put it down and sat against a car lift, staring at nothing. I didn't feel anything. That scared me more than the zombies.
Morning came. I'd been sitting by the door all night with a tire iron across my knees. The others were scattered around the shop, sleeping in weird positions on shop rags and old uniforms. Liam was curled up against Maya, his face still tear-streaked. I'd been thinking all night, running scenarios. The auto shop was good, but it wasn't forever. No food, water running low, and those things outside weren't leaving. They just spread out, waiting for us to make a sound. I needed a plan, a real one. My house was 2 miles east. My dad was one of those better safe than sorry guys. Canned food, water jugs, a generator. I used to make fun of him for it. Now I wanted to kiss him. But 12 people couldn't sneak 2 miles through a town full of those things, not together. They'd make noise, get spotted, get cornered. So I thought about the bell. Northwood had this old bell tower left over from when the school was built in the 1920s. They never used it, but it was still there behind the maintenance shed. If someone rang that bell, it would draw every infected in the area to the school, clear a path for the others to get out. And that someone would have to be me. I hated the idea. Not because I was scared. Okay, I was scared, but because it was stupid. One person against a school full of those things. The math was bad, but the math for 12 people trying to sneak out together was worse. Marcus woke up as the sun started coming through the high windows. He looked at me, saw my face, and just said, "No." I didn't say anything. You've got your "I'm about to do something stupid" face. I don't have a face. You have a face. It's your stupid face. He sat up, rubbing his eyes. "What's the plan?" I told him. He listened without interrupting, which wasn't like him. When I finished, he just sat there for a minute. "That's insane," he said. "Probably. You'll die. Maybe, but you guys won't." He looked at me for a long time. Then he said, "You're not doing that thing where you pretend you don't care, are you? Because I know you care. You sat with Liam for an hour yesterday. You gave Maya your granola bar. I'm not pretending anything. I'm just doing the math." "You're a terrible liar, Leo." I didn't answer. I couldn't. When the sun was fully up, I gathered everyone. I gave Marcus the map I'd drawn on a piece of cardboard, showed him the route to my house, told him my dad's security code, 1837, year the safety match was invented. My dad thought he was hilarious. "I'm gonna draw them off," I said. "You guys go east, stay quiet, don't stop." Derek stepped forward. "Let me go instead. I'm faster." "You're louder," I said. Not a dig, just true. "I know the tunnels under the school. I can circle back." "You don't have to do this," Maya said. "Yeah, I kinda do." I grabbed a hammer, quiet, effective, and slipped out the personnel door before anyone could argue. The morning air was cold and damp. The infected were scattered across the parking lot, standing in groups, doing nothing. Just standing. I moved along the wall, keeping low, until I reached the maintenance shed. The ladder to the bell tower was rusted but held my weight. I climbed slow, wincing at every creak. At the top, the bell hung above me, this big brass thing covered in bird crap. The rope was still there, coiled on the floor. I looked out over the school. I could see the highway beyond, choked with empty cars. No cops, no army, just silence and the shapes of the infected below, drifting like garbage in a slow current. I waited. I'd told Marcus to give me 15 minutes before they moved. I counted in my head. Slow. 1 Mississippi. 2 Mississippi. When I hit 900, I grabbed the rope and pulled. The sound was incredible. It hit me in the chest, vibrated through my bones. I pulled again and again, getting a rhythm going. Below, the infected stopped, turned, started moving toward the tower like someone had flipped a switch. I rang that bell for 3 minutes. It felt like a year. Then I dropped the rope, ran to the other side of the tower, and climbed the fire escape. My hands were shaking so bad I almost slipped twice. I hit the ground running.
The maintenance tunnel entrance was behind the gym, hidden under a grate. I pried it open, dropped into the dark, and ran through water up to my ankles. My phone light bounced off wet walls. Left at the junction, right at the boiler, up the ladder by the old cafeteria. I came out behind the football bleachers, gasping, my legs on fire. The infected were all at the bell tower, a crowd of them pressing against each other, moaning. I ran east, through backyards, over fences, through a hedge that scratched my arms raw. I reached the intersection of Maple and 4th at 7:52. No one was there. I stood in the middle of the street, chest heaving, waiting.
5 minutes. 10. I started thinking about what I'd say to Marcus's parents, to Maya's, to Liam's. Then I saw them, a group of figures moving down Maple, hugging the houses. Marcus in front, holding the map, Maya behind him with Liam's hand in hers, Derek at the back, a wrench in his hand. All 12. Marcus saw me and broke into a jog. When he got to me, he grabbed my shoulder, breathing hard. His eyes were red. "You idiot," he said. "I know. You're such an idiot." "I know." He pulled me into a quick, rough hug, then let go just as fast. "Come on, let's get to your crazy prepper dad's house." We walked the rest of the way in silence. My house was a split level on a quiet street. The front door was unlocked, bad sign, but the basement door was closed, my dad's rule. If something's wrong, you go to the basement and you lock it behind you. I knocked on the basement door. "Dad? Mom?" A pause, then my dad's voice, scratchy like he hadn't slept. "Ethan?" "Yeah, I've got friends with me. We're coming down." The basement was exactly like I remembered. Shelves of canned goods, water jugs, a generator, a first aid kit that could restock a small hospital. My parents were in the corner, pale but okay. My mom started crying when she saw me. I let her hug me for a long time. I didn't cry. I'm not a crier, but I held on. Later, after everyone was inside, after the door was locked and the generator was humming, I sat on the basement steps and watched Marcus teach Liam how to play poker with a deck he'd found. Maya was talking to my mom, helping her open a can of soup. Derek was trying to fix the radio, muttering about static. They were loud, messy, probably going to run through our supplies twice as fast as we should. But they were here, all of them, because I'd gone up that tower and rung a stupid bell. I used to think being smart meant doing everything yourself, being efficient, not getting attached. My dad always said I had a cold streak. He wasn't wrong. But I'd sat with Liam when he was crying. I'd given Maya my granola bar. I'd climbed that tower not because the math worked, it didn't, but because I couldn't stand the thought of Marcus walking out that door without me. That's not math. That's something else. I pulled out my phone, still no signal, and opened my notes. I'd been keeping a list of observations, clinical and detached. I deleted it. Then I typed something new. Day 1, still alive. So is everyone else. That's all that matters. I put the phone away and went to see if there was any poker room for one more.